Shalom, everyone. I want to thank everybody for coming to keep the Sabbath. Today's lesson is called Tearing Down Strongholds. Phil, I'm going to need you to come a little closer so they can hear you on the audio too.
All right.
So once again, tearing down strongholds. The strongholds we're talking about is your mind. So we're going to start with the introduction. Shalom, Israel. Thank you for gathering together to keep the Sabbath and to fellowship with one another. Today we will get the true understanding of a popular verse that's misunderstood. Over 400 years of unsound doctrine has caused confusion within our community. Today we'll be tearing down this stronghold. May the Most High add a blessing to the reading of His holy word. So keep in mind, it's referring to your mind, strongholds in your mind, the misinterpretations of certain scriptures that get people to thinking verses mean something else. So we're going to start off with 2 Corinthians chapter 10 through 4. It says it's the title of the lesson. Second Corinthians 10 through 4, the title of the lesson.
2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 4. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds.
So for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, meaning fleshly. It's spiritual, it's in the mind. But mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. Meaning, for example, Christmas, that's a stronghold that we pull it down. It's something that was been put in and beat into us and put it up in our brain and our culture. That's a lie, and that's a stronghold. So that's something we pull down. So we're gonna read the next verse. It says, "Love thy enemy." This is a stronghold that modern Christianity read, and we automatically start thinking about the oppressors. So Matthew chapter 5, verse 43 through 48. This is the stronghold we're going to pull down today. Somebody on Facebook posted this verse. For a split second, it had me. I had to do some research. Like, man, hold on. This kind of go against what we've been teaching. So Matthew 5, 43 through 48.
Matthew chapter 5, verse 43. Ye have heard that it hath been said, Thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thine enemy. But I say unto you, love your enemies. Bless them that curse you. Do good to them that hate you. And pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you.
So, all right, he's saying, verses in the Old Testament, because that's when he said, you heard that it's been said, love thy neighbor, but hate thy enemy. And this is Christ talking. But he said, I say unto you to love your enemies. He say, bless them that curse you. Do good to them that hate you. Pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you. So off the surface, if you're reading that and close the book, you'll be thinking about what?
The other nations?
Yeah, the other nations. These are the verses that the slave masters used to read. Because they know they're out of bounds and they'll read, they beat this into you. So automatically when you read this verse, you're thinking it's the other nations' enemies. Read 45.
Verse 45. That ye may be the children of your Father which is in heaven. For he maketh his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sendeth rain on the just and the unjust. For if ye love them which love you, what reward have ye? Do not even the publicans the same?
So Christ is saying if you love only the people that love you, for example, the other Israelites that's out there that know Israelites. Imagine you say, I'm only messing with them Israelites. I'm only messing with the people that do good under me. But everybody else, the people that don't do good out here, forget them. I ain't got no love for them. So he's saying, for if ye love them which what? 46?
For if ye love them which love you, what reward have ye? Do not even the publicans the same?
So we supposed to be a step up above that. We supposed to love the ones that do us bad and the ones that do us good. But we're referring to the Israelites, to our people. Because what? At one point, what?
We were doing the same thing.
Exactly. We were doing the same thing to other people. For example, like I used to give my mama hell as a kid. But she never stopped loving me. She gave me grace, and she had enough patience that sooner or later her son would turn it all around. And that's the same kind of love we should have for our brothers and sisters. But in 43, it says, thou shalt love thy neighbor, and hate thy enemy. But I said to you, love your enemies. Love your enemies. So we're going to find out who the enemies is. Because like I said, off the surface, you might think it's the other nations. For example, some Arabs or some white people. So 48.
Verse 48. Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect.
So this is an example of being perfect. You not just loving everybody that do good, but you got love for the wicked too. Christ said with the, I forgot what type of, the sinners. He was trying to change their soul. That's an example of being perfect. So the next verse we're going to go to is Micah chapter 7 and 6. Remember, love thine enemies. That's what we focusing on. We're going to pull down the stronghold. Micah 7 and 6.
The book of Micah, chapter 7 and verse 6. For the son dishonoreth the father.
Where Micah at, first of all? Old or New Testament? It's the Old Testament.
For the son dishonoreth the father. The daughter riseth up against her mother. The daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. A man's enemies are the men of his own house.
So love thine enemies. Read verse 6 again.
For the son dishonoreth the father.
The son ain't doing what the father told him to do.
The daughter riseth up against her mother.
The mother and daughter are at odds.
The daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law.
And that's rampant throughout out the Israelites. The daughter-in-law and the mother-in-law can't get along.
A man's enemies are the men of his own house.
A man's enemies are the men of his own house. Meaning, clicking on the word house. House. Especially what? A family. So a man's enemies are going to be his own family members. So keep that in mind when it say love thy neighbor and also love your enemies. Because when you're in this word, it's going to be division. Some people ain't going to want to keep the word. But should we hate them? Should we despise them? We're supposed to show them love. Hopefully they'll turn it around the same way your mama showed you love. So we're going to go to Isaiah chapter 9 and 19. Jump in anytime. Isaiah chapter 9 and 19. This is a prophecy.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 9, verse 19. Through the wrath of the Lord of hosts is the land darkened, and the people shall be as the fuel of the fire. No man shall spare his brother.
No man shall spare his brother. Remember, he's prophesied that people ain't going to be loving their brothers or loving their enemies. Which is the brothers and sisters that you at odds with. 21.
Verse 21. Manasseh, Ephraim, and Ephraim, Manasseh, and they together shall be against Judah.
So what tribes are Manasseh and Ephraim? The northern tribe, correct. And they said they shall be what?
They together shall be against Judah.
So love thy brother. They ain't going to be loving their brother. Now they're going to be enemies. Don't that happen today? We don't see it today, but go out in certain parts of California. The northern tribe beefing hard with the southern tribe. But they got some parts of California where they together. It's a brotherhood. So they loving their enemies, which was actually their brothers. But they at odds, so they enemies. You say the enemies will be in his own household. They ain't physically got to go to war and kill each other. Because the mother against the father ain't trying to kill each other. The son against the mother ain't trying to, the son against the father ain't trying to kill each other. The daughter against the mother ain't trying to kill each other. But they are at odds. So he said, for all this what? His anger.
For all this, his anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out still.
So after all this, his anger is not turned away, meaning the Lord was mad at that, and he caused destruction because the brothers are fighting against each other. So sooner or later, y'all got to let that go. It may be cultural wars. It may be like somebody in the 80s was beefing with somebody, and then he turn around and shoot him. Then he turn around, you shoot him. You shoot. Somebody got to step up and love our enemies, or it's going to last forever. Like, I'm talking about these gangs and Bloods and Crips and stuff like that. And this go on in our within our community. North side versus south side. East side versus west side. Uptown versus downtown. But guess who fighting each other?
The Israelites.
Their own brothers and sisters. You see two black people, just because this black person stay on this side of town, we automatically don't like them. The Bible is saying them your brothers, but them your enemies. But you gotta love your enemies. And on another example, it might be somebody you work with. Y'all just don't get along because of the things he do, because of his beliefs or whatever. Y'all just don't. You still gotta show that brother love, and hopefully pray that sooner or later they'll understand what you're trying to show them and get it right. But you don't hate them. You don't show hate to them. Maybe somebody you grew up with. As a kid, y'all ain't get along. Y'all always fought. Y'all just never got along. It was somebody like that with me. He was from, Corn Mama, from the other side of town. I'm from this side of town. Every time we used to see each other at this Latin club, we like 16, 17, 18. Every time we see each other, we already know what time it is. It's time to get it cracked. About 25, when I'm 25, 26 years old, I seen him somewhere else, like at an adult club. I know that's a bad analogy, but I seen him there. As soon as I seen him, we start smiling. Like, man, boy, me and you used to be wild, boy. Like, every time I see you, we try to kill each other, basically, man. Like, that dude was a natural enemy to me, even though he was my brother. We found love. We showed love to each other. And that's what y'all need to be. I know somebody at y'all school that y'all don't get along with. Somebody at y'all job y'all don't get along with. So y'all gotta still love them at the end of the day, even if they wrong. Even if they just use you or do you wrong. Find it in your heart to still love that brother. That's what love our enemies mean. We gonna keep touching them. We gonna beat it in y'all head. We gonna pull down their stronghold. Excuse me, Matthew chapter 10, 21 through 22. If anybody got a testimony about that type of stuff that y'all done got over with somebody, y'all feel free to join in too. Matthew gonna say basically what Micah said. Excuse me, this ain't Matthew. I think this Christ talk.
It is Christ. Matthew chapter 10, verse 21. And the brother shall deliver up the brother to death, and the father the child. And the children shall rise up against their parents, and cause them to be put to death. So
he's saying what's going to happen. One brother going to be trying to help the other family member out. They going to, like, a super Christian, and you trying to tell them all that's wrong. They might call the police on you or call somebody to do some harm to you. They thinking you in a cult. But all you doing is trying to correct them with the word of God. So 21 again.
And the brother shall deliver up the brother to death, and the father the child, and the children shall rise up against their parents and cause them to be put to death.
So the enemy is going to be from your own household. 22.
And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. But he that endureth to the end shall be saved.
So y'all just going to have to endure that. Sometimes you might be trying to save somebody that just ain't going to be saved. So don't take it personal. But I'm reading these verses to prove that the enemy is going to be of your own household. It's going to be your own tribe. It may be in your house, your family. So we're going to read down to 35 through 36. It's still Christ talking.
Matthew chapter 10, verse 35. For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law.
Just read that. Micah said the same thing.
And a man's foes shall be they of his own household.
What is foes?
Enemy.
Can you yeah, just click it.
Can you click on a variance? I know what it means.
Yeah, and then hold up. Well, let me click on foes again. They go to the word enemy. Enemy. It says especially Satan. Now we already know that this ain't talking about Satan because it said love thy brother and love thy enemies. Do you think you're supposed to be loving Satan?
No.
So the point is, to a man's foes, a man's enemies are going to be of his own household. So he said, for I have come to set a man at variance against his father.
Hey, brother might have Satan on him though at that time.
Still got to love
Brother
him.
and sister might have that spirit on him. That spirit of Satan, like you're saying. You can.
Somebody prayed for us when we had that spirit of Satan on us. So variance means to make apart. To set at variance. To mean y'all gonna be at odds.
Each other, yeah. It's crazy. He said the exact same thing that Michael said. So obviously he knew the Old Testament. Christ wasn't speaking his own words.
So we're gonna go down to Jeremiah chapter 9, 4 through 6. Jeremiah chapter 9, 4 through 6. So it should make more sense when they say love thy neighbor, but also love your enemies. He's letting you know who your enemies are. These are what your enemy's gonna do to you. But your enemy's gonna be your own brother.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 9, verse 4. Take ye heed every one of his neighbor, and trust ye not in any brother. For every brother will utterly supplant, and every neighbor will walk with slanders.
So he's saying, hey, your neighbor, your brothers, they're going to be trying to take what you got or supplant what you got, and they might even lie on you.
Verse 5. And they will deceive everyone his neighbor, and will not speak the truth.
So they're going to be out here lying, and when it comes to the word, they're not speaking the truth.
They have taught their tongue to speak lies, and weary themselves to commit iniquity.
What is iniquity?
Sin.
So they're all they about. He talking about your name. You may be a whole bunch of heathens. For example, you may not be making a lot of money, so you can only afford to live in a lower community. Well, for example, where they got low rent at most of the time, they got sin everywhere. I ain't saying in the high places they ain't sin, meaning they acting a fool in our communities, in the hood, quote unquote. So he said they weary themselves to commit iniquity.
Verse 6. Thine habitation is in the midst of deceit. Through deceit they refuse to know me, saith the Lord.
So through deceit, they refuse to know him. But he's talking about your own brothers and your own sisters. So they doing things to you, what he's saying. He's saying they're going to be lying on you. They may try to utterly supplant you. Just click on supplant. We don't use that word. To seize you by the heel. To do something to you. To break in your house. To take what you got. But guess what? You still gotta pray for them brothers. Them brothers and sisters lost. They don't realize that if they knew what they was doing that to somebody that keep the commandments, man, I don't think they would do that. They'll be foolish enough to do that.
What did Christ say when he was on the
We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. Whatever. But you can bring it out. Go ahead.
Spoiler
it's on
alert.
there. That's the first thing that came to my mind.
Hey, you in the spirit. So we're gonna go to Isaiah 43, 25 through 26. It says, God forgave us. We should do the same. Isaiah 43, 25 through 26. You read that, love your neighbor. Love your brothers, but also love your enemy. Man, if you ain't in the right mind, you like, oh Lord. But these, I ain't gonna call them coons, but these brothers and sisters, they ain't even worried about loving their own no more. As soon as they read that verse, they go out their way to go help the other nation. See, it says right here, love your enemy. Well, your brother right next to you need help. Why you jumping past him to go run over there to help your enemy? So we supposed to be reading Isaiah 43, 25 through 26.
The book of Isaiah chapter 43, verse 25. I, even I, am he that blotted out thy transgressions for mine own sake, and will not remember thy sins.
So he said, I, even I, he that blotted out thy transgressions, the Most High will blot out your transgression, for your own sake. And what?
And will not remember thy sins.
And when you sin against God, what you do? What that's called? You did what?
You transgressed.
You did wrong against God. For example, if your mama tell you to do something and you don't do it, you transgress against her. That's what all these are commandments. The Lord is talking to you, telling you to do something. So he's saying, hey, even the Lord giving you another chance. All your transgressions, he'll blot them out for you. And he won't even remember your sins. 26.
Verse 26. Put me in remembrance. Let us plead together. Declare thou that thou mayest be justified.
Plead together means let us come together, man. That thou may be justified. Let us not be at odds no more. So hey, the same way the Lord will blot out your transgressions and not remember your sin, we need to do that for our own brothers and sisters. Meaning don't hold no grudge. Every time you see sister such and such or brother such and such, don't remember what he did 8, 9, 10 years ago. That brother might have changed now. Give him a second chance, man. Because you want the Lord to do what?
Change for you.
Yeah, do the same for you. You don't want the Lord to only remember the times you was evil and wicked in the world. You want him to forget about all that. So you got to do the same to your brothers and sisters. You got to do the same to your enemies. The brothers and sisters that you at odds with, or the brothers and sisters that used to do wrong with you. Don't hold that over their head. Forget them. So we're going to read Colossians chapter 3 and 13. Colossians is what?
New Testament.
But who are the Colossians?
Israelites. Scattered in Colossae.
Scattered in Colossae.
Do you know where that is? I mean, you don't have to pull it up.
No, we gonna put it up.
I'm sorry.
You got a question? We gonna answer. I don't want nobody brain just foggy like we read it, but where is it? We gonna answer. A life question. This is the Sabbath day. This is what this day is for.
Thank you.
You will. I can pull up one of these now. Hold up.
Give it a minute. Asia. Right under Asia.
So you see Colossae.
Yes.
This is really Turkey. What they call Turkey, Asia Minor. Athens is Greece. So this is Turkey. We had some Israelites in Turkey.
So back in the day, that was Turkey instead of Asia?
I'm gonna show y'all a map of that area. So remember how it was shaped.
Yeah, it's right there.
Remember I said that's Turkey? This is Greece. What? Colossae somewhere up in there. You can go back to the original picture. Remember these shapes.
Excuse me.
So we can read in Colossians what? 3 through 13.
The book of Colossians chapter 3, verse 13. Forbearing one another.
Let me click on forbearing. To hold oneself up against, to put up with, to endure, to suffer one another.
Forbearing one another, and forgiving one another. If any man have a quarrel against any, even as Christ forgave you, so also do ye.
So that's exactly what we've been saying. Hey, whatever y'all got, forgive one another. If any man have a quarrel, meaning y'all was getting into it about something, you got to forgive just how Christ forgave you. Just how the Most High forgave you. Just how our parents forgave us. So Colossians is saying the same thing we're saying. Ephesians chapter 4, 31 through 32. Where is Ephesians? Who are the Ephesians? What's the name of the city? Ephesus. Let's find that on Paul's map. Y'all help me out.
I don't see it.
What's it called?
Ephesus.
I don't think it's on there.
I don't know. They calling it something else.
So that's still where?
In Asia?
It's still in Turkey. But they did call it Asia Minor.
Yeah.
So we reading Ephesians 4, 31 through 32.
The book of Ephesians chapter 4, verse 31. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice.
So he said, let all that bitterness, wrath, anger, clamor, and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. Don't be getting into it. Watch how you treat your brothers and sisters, man. Let that go.
It says all bitterness.
Not cry.
Just getting into it. And it's a lot of that. That's why it's deaths in our community. And it ain't no white person killing us. It ain't the Asians killing us. The Arabs killing us. They dying and killing each other over little things, over beef.
Verse 32. And be ye kind one to another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, even as God for Christ's sake hath forgiven you.
Everybody's on the same page. So they understood that love your brother, but also love your enemy. So y'all got to be kind-hearted to one another. And it goes for the other nations too. Just because you love your brothers don't mean you should treat the heathens like crap too, right? We gonna treat all men with respect, with dignity. When you at work, just because Esau is the devil, you don't have to go around saying, you know you the devil, just going out your way, being rude to people. I'm going to trip him and make him fall because he ain't in my brothers. Nah, man.
You focus on yourself.
Be at peace with all men. And that's going to be said in another scripture. So, it says, how to love thine enemy. Exodus 23, 4 through 6. When is the time period of Exodus, somebody?
When the Israelites were exiting
Exiting what?
Egypt.
Both of y'all got it right. Exodus 23, 4 through 6.
The book of Exodus, chapter 23, verse 4. If thou meet thine enemy's ox, or his ass going astray, thou shalt surely bring it back to him again.
So if it's like I said, if somebody y'all don't get along with, this dude could be a Muslim. Brother, you know, be pushing that Muslim crap all day, but he really an Israelite. If your enemy's ox or ass going astray, donkey is an ass. Y'all know what an ox is. So if his ox going straight, for example, if he lived 2 houses down, and something that belonged to him then wandered off in your area, it says, thou shalt do what?
Thou shalt surely bring it back to him again.
Bring it back to them. That's still your brother at the end of the day, man. Even though y'all quote unquote at odds or y'all don't believe in the same thing, you supposed to do kind to them. That's still your brother. 5.
If thou see the ass of him that hated thee, lying under his burden, and wouldest forbear to help him, thou shalt surely help with him.
So if you riding down the street, we're going to put it in the modern day. But this is saying if you see his donkey fell in the ditch or something, he out there struggling to get the donkey out of the ditch. Let's say the same guy, car went in the ditch or something. Or you see him stuck on the side of the road, needing help. You're supposed to pull over and help that brother. Thou shalt surely help with him. That's really your enemy, like I say, because y'all been beefing, mother and father, brothers and sisters, people of your own household, your enemy. You still supposed to help. You might have a family member that don't want to do right for nothing. Next thing you know, they call you needing for help. Go help that family member.
Verse 6. Thou shalt not rest the judgment of thy poor in his cause.
So thou shalt not rest the judgment. Cause to yield. To carry aside, decline. Don't stop to help out them in this cause, is what he's trying to say. Don't put it all, be like, oh man, that brother living in sin. I ain't about to help him. That was the Lord that brought that destruction, made his tire flat. The Lord telling you help that brother. So that's just an example of how to love your enemy. Where we at? What Exodus? Oh yeah, Romans chapter 12, 17 through 21. Romans 12, 17 through 21. Y'all know what who Romans are, right?
Israelites got it.
The book of Romans chapter 12, verse 17. Recompense to no man evil for evil. Provide things honest in the sight of all men.
So hey, brother, sister, east side, west side, whatever, northern tribe, southern tribe, recompense no man evil for evil. Meaning if somebody, for example at school, somebody trip you down and play too much, don't be sitting around all day thinking of, man, I'm about to get this boy. I'm going to do, y'all know how it is, those type of pranks or somebody do somebody wrong. Yeah. Don't be thinking of another way to repay evil on his brother. Revenge. That's what recompense means. Say, provide things honest in the sight of all men.
Verse 18. If it be possible, as much as lieth in you, Live peaceably with all men.
If it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men. I say that earlier? Didn't we discuss that earlier? Don't be going out your way messing over the other nations just because they ain't the other nations. Live peaceably with all men. We all got to live here. You might make it hard for other Israelites in your area if you running around here terrorizing the heathens.
Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath.
So hey, avenge not yourself. If they messing with you at school, you ain't got to go around messing with them, because what? Said give rather place unto wrath, meaning the wrath gonna come. For it is written what?
For it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord.
Revenge is his. He will repay. Man, you don't know what's gonna happen to that brother. It can happen the same day. It can happen next week. The Lord is in control at all times. Diseases, sicknesses come upon people. The Lord revenge is his. He'll be happy to repay back. But the point is, you be righteous. You forgive that brother and that sister. You pray that this brother and sister grow up and make a change. Because you know what's going to happen. The Lord sooner or later going to get tired of that foolishness.
Verse 20. Therefore, if thine enemy hunger, feed him. If he thirst, give him drink. For in so doing, thou shalt heap coals of fire on his head.
So if you got a brother that's giving you hell at school, but you see he ain't got no lunch money to eat that day, like everybody eat, he just sitting over there, nah, I ain't want to eat anyway. Look, offer that man some food. Man, we been here all day. You ain't put nothing in your mouth. I know you hungry. Even though you give me hell every day. He say, by doing that, thou shalt what?
Heap coals of fire on his head.
So, man, his conscience going to start playing with him. Man, he going to be thinking, man, why I'm messing with this dude? This is a righteous dude, man. That's you keep heaping coals of fire on his head. And you may gain a brother now. I ain't saying that you doing that to be a punk, to stop somebody messing with you. The point is, we ain't here to change lives, to change mindsets. This dude going to realize, man, I'm an a-hole. I'm stupid. Why am I out here living like this, man? He'll start looking in the mirror. You reaping coals of fire. You heaping coals of fire on his head.
Does that mean the other nations too, or just our people in that verse? Because above it says, live peacefully.
I was just about to say that. Live peaceably with all men. Ain't nothing wrong with feeding for example, if you got food, somebody else ain't got no food. Ain't nothing wrong with help feeding that brother. Or that person of the other nation. Now, if I'm going too down the road. I was going to say, if you see a brother that's hungry and a heathen that's hungry, make sure you feed the brother first. But at the same time, if it's a heathen, you might change his mindset. He might go home. Let's say his parents is racist. Nah, he ain't even racist no more. He be like, man, what are you talking about? They got this black dude at school. He was the only black person out there feeding me. He was the only person that looked out for me. All those other people just stepped.
Like who they are. I just treat everyone the same. It's not up to me anyway.
There's a precept, if you guys want to see it, it's Hebrews 12 and 14. It talks about
Hebrews 12 and 14.
peaceably with all men and holiness, because without it no man shall see the Lord.
She's saying Hebrews 12 and 14.
I want y'all to check, but somebody check on their phone and go to Gathering Israel to make sure it's still recording, because I just got a phone call. And sometimes that'll just throw everything all wet.
Hebrews 12 and 14.
You can check that.
It says live.
It's still like
It's
you
still,
can see,
what's the minutes?
like click on it to make sure you can see everything.
Yeah. Okay, we're good. We're good.
All right,
Yes.
appreciate it. So Hebrews, that's the New Testament.
12 and 14.
Hebrews 12 and 14.
Follow peace with all men and holiness, without which no man shall see the Lord.
So follow peace with all men and holiness, without which no man shall see the Lord. So meaning, if you want to see the Lord, you got to be with peace with all men and be holy. That's how you're making it to the kingdom is what they're trying to say. Don't go out your way acting a fool against another nation. We already know we ain't supposed to do that with our brothers. But we ain't got to go out there acting a fool against another nation just because they not a part of our nation. You ain't got to slam them.
She gave us that precept.
And thank you, Sister Alicia. But you ain't got to go out of your way. For example, like you at the gas station. Somebody, another nation right behind you. You ain't got to slam the door. Yeah, y'all are the heathens or whatever. Y'all be treating our races as bad. Put us into slavery. You just doing dirty stuff because that's in your mind. Look, live peaceably with all men. So we just did Ephesians, right?
Romans.
Oh, that was Romans. Well, we got Ephesians 4:31 through 32.
We read that already.
Okay. So we had First Samuel. We're going to touch on David. David and Goliath. I know y'all heard that story. So 1 Samuel 18, 28, 29. Somebody tell me a little bit about David.
He was scrawny.
He was what?
Scrawny?
That is characteristic. Most people know about David. He fought Goliath, right? Mm-hmm. And how did he kill Goliath?
With the smooth stone.
With the slingshot, with the stone. So most time in modern day Christianity, they just stop right there. We don't know nothing else about David and Goliath. He killed the giant. Goliath was a giant from Philistine. But we're going to read some more stuff about David. Remember, this is about putting down a stronghold to love your enemies. 1 Samuel 18, 28, 29.
1 Samuel chapter 18, verse 28.
Well, read 27 for me. Saul, anybody know who Saul was?
King.
He was the quote unquote first king of Judah. I mean, first king of the Israelites. So this is Saul made a promise. If David killed Goliath, he'll get this and that. So read 27 for
verse 27. Wherefore David arose and went, he and his men, and slew of the Philistines 200 men.
Y'all knew David was small, right? He was so small he couldn't wear all the helmet and the shields, and all the other Israelites were scared to battle this big giant. But he went up there and he was a shepherd. Bam, killed this giant. So now they done made him king, not king, but they done made him leader of the army. So David went, a little guy, little kid, I guess he was a teenager, I don't really know his age. David went and slew how many other Philistines?
200 men.
200 of them. And what?
And David brought their foreskins.
What is their foreskin? Y'all know what it is. That's what you got to cut off to be circumcised. So he killed 200, took their foreskins and did what?
And they gave them in full tale to the king, that he might be the king's son-in-law.
So Saul made a decree. Anybody that can do this and bring me this, I'll make you my son-in-law. I'll give you my daughter to wed.
And Saul gave him Michal, his daughter, to wife.
So Saul was true on his word. 28.
And Saul saw and knew that the Lord was with David, and that Michal, Saul's daughter, loved him.
So he's seeing that the Lord must be with this boy.
Verse 29. And Saul was yet the more afraid of David, and Saul became David's enemy continually.
So David is an Israelite. Saul is an Israelite. They said Saul became David's what?
Enemy continually.
Why was they enemy? Think about it.
He started getting out of love.
He like, man, the Lord must be with him. What he thinking in the back of his mind? If he the king and the Lord anointed him to be king, he like, man, the Lord with him. He's gonna be what?
Jealous.
He's jealous of him, but what though?
He's gonna be dethroned.
He's gonna be dethroned sooner or later, man. It's like you in a rap game. You running a rap game. You see this little boy, say I'm 24. I see this little 16-year-old boy spitting these rhymes and making the crowd go crazy. I'm like, man, this boy he gonna be a problem sooner or later when he figure it all out. So that's how he was. This little boy killing 200 Philistines, bringing their foreskin. I done made this decree. He basically said that because he's like, ain't no way he could do it. Probably trying to set him up to get killed. You come back with the bag. He like, man, Lord, with him, man. So 30. So he became his enemy. He like, man, look, I ain't gonna let this boy get my throne.
Verse 30. Then the princes of the Philistines went forth. And it came to pass after they went forth that David behaved himself more wisely than all the servants of Saul, so that his name was much set by.
So he said he behaved himself more wisely than all the servants of Saul, so that his name was much set by. He was an honorable, righteous man. Whatever the king said do, he did. He lived righteous, he lived holy. You know how people try to find faults in you. He was one of those guys you just couldn't find faults with. All praise to the Most High. So we're going to read 1 Samuel 19, 1 through 12.
1 Samuel 19, verse 1. And Saul spake to Jonathan his son, and to all his servants, that they should kill David.
So hold on. You know we ain't supposed to be doing that, right? And why would he even want David killed if this man, he said he did better than all your servants? He jealous of that man. So Saul spoke to Jonathan, his son. He had a son that was real cool with David. And he said it to him and to all his servants that they should what?
They should kill David. But Jonathan, Saul's son, delighted much in David.
They was best friends.
And Jonathan told David, saying, Saul my father seeketh to kill thee.
So they so cool that he told him what his daddy was plotting to do.
Now therefore, I pray thee, take heed to thyself until the morning, and abide in a secret place, and hide thyself.
Hide, man. My daddy put a hit out on him.
And I will go out and stand beside my father in the field where thou art, and I will commune with my father of thee, and what I see, that I will tell thee.
So he giving him the plan. I'm going to go talk to my daddy about you. Whatever I find out, I'm going to come back and tell you.
And Jonathan spake good of David unto Saul, his father, and said unto him, let not the king sin against his servant, against David.
So the junior telling daddy, man, don't you kill, he called it a sin. You sinning trying to kill David. David ain't did nothing but save the nation of Israel and been faithful to you. Because what?
Because he hath not sinned against thee, and because his works have been to thee were very good.
Everything he did was good for you.
For he did put his life in his hand and slew the Philistine. And the Lord wrought a great salvation for all Israel.
He literally saved us. The Philistines was causing hell to us, man. He the one stepped up when everybody else was afraid and saved the nation.
Thou sawest it and didst rejoice.
You saw it and you was happy. You rejoiced over it.
Wherefore then wilt thou sin against innocent blood, to slay David without a cause?
Why would you kill your brother? He did you nothing. He said that's a sin.
And Saul hearkened unto the voice of Jonathan, and Saul sware, as the Lord liveth, he shall not be slain.
So he talked some sense in him. He made an oath saying, all right, as the Lord liveth, I will not kill David.
And Jonathan called David, and Jonathan showed him all those things.
So he told him what his daddy said.
And Jonathan brought David to Saul, and he was in his presence as in times past.
So they got over it. Saul got over it. He brought him back into his service where he had to hide no more.
And there was war again. And David went out and fought with the Philistines, and slew them with a great slaughter, and they fled from him.
He handled business again on behalf of our nation. This is David I'm talking about.
And the evil spirit from the Lord was upon Saul. And he sat in his house with his javelin in his hand, and David played with his hand.
So David was playing the harp. They said, evil spirit. They said an evil spirit from the Lord was upon Saul. As he set out in his house with the javelin in his hand. So he had one of those javelins that you would, you know, y'all seen somebody throw the javelin in the track and field. But imagine one with a spear at the end of it. So David ain't doing nothing but playing the harp. Let's see what verse 10 says.
And Saul sought to smite David even to the wall with the javelin.
So it's like, you know, you playing darts, but he got a javelin in his hand. But what the promise he just made? That he wasn't going to kill him. He said, I swear as the Lord liveth. So this is love thy enemies. Love your brothers as well, love your enemies. But he did what?
But he slipped away out of Saul's presence, and he smote the javelin into the wall.
So he threw the javelin at him. David ducked the javelin hit the wall. And David did what?
And David fled and escaped that night.
So verse 11.
Saul also sent messengers unto David's house to watch him and to slay him in the morning. And Michal, David's wife, told him, saying, If thou save not thy life tonight, tomorrow thou shalt be slain.
So Saul's wife is helping David. Saul's son is helping David. But Saul is the only one trying to kill an innocent man. So what? Verse 12?
So Michal let David down through a window, and he went and fled and escaped.
Now y'all notice David had the power to kill all these Philistines. Killed Goliath, who was the biggest Philistine out of them all. They called him a giant. He wasn't no 40-foot giant, man. He was about 9 foot, 10 feet, 8 foot, something like that. He was a very tall man. So what I'm trying to say is, if David really wanted to defend himself, because this man is trying to kill you, he could have. But did we read anywhere where David fought back? That's love thy enemies, because that's his brother. And plus, that's the king of Israel. He knew that you cannot kill the king of Israel. He said the Lord does what? The Lord revenge.
Mm-hmm.
So
he forbeared that. But he put up with it. He put up with that wrath that was coming from Saul.
Exactly. But at the end of the day, the Lord is in control. Mm-hmm. So we're going to read verse 24, chapter 24, 1 through 18. 1 through 18? Yeah.
The book of 1 Samuel, chapter 24, verse 1. And it came to pass when Saul was returned from following the Philistines, that it was told to him, saying, Behold, David is in the wilderness of En-gedi.
So Saul was going battling, but they told him, hey, David over there. Let's go get him.
Then Saul took 3,000 chosen men out of all Israel, and went to seek David and his men upon the rocks of the wild goats.
So he took 3,000 of his best killers to go get David.
And he came to the sheepcotes by the way, where was a cave. And Saul went in to cover his feet. And David and his men remained in the sides of the cave.
So I guess Saul got tired or sleepy or whatever, so they went inside this cave. But he didn't know David and his crew was where?
In the sides of the cave.
They in the sides of the cave right there with him. Verse 4.
And the men of David said unto him, Behold, the day of which the Lord said unto thee, Behold, I will deliver thine enemy into thine hand.
So the men of David said, hey, this is your time. The Lord said he would deliver thy enemy into thy hand. And what?
That thou mayest do to him as it shall seem good unto thee.
Whatever you want to do to him, this is your chance. This is his boys telling him that.
Then David arose and cut off the skirt of Saul's robe privily.
So he, on the cool, while obviously Saul was asleep, he went over there and cut a piece of his robe. We're gonna keep reading to find out why.
And it came to pass afterward that David's heart smote him, because he had cut off Saul's skirt.
So that's how righteous David was. He felt bad that he cut a piece of the king's cloth. Mm-hmm. Anybody else, somebody trying to kill you, and they don't know you right here and they fell asleep, you wouldn't feel bad over you cutting a piece of clothing off of them. You'll probably kill that man because that man been seeking to kill you all this time.
And he said unto his men, the Lord forbid that I should do this thing unto my master, the Lord's anointed.
The king was the Lord anointed that king. Even though he was a wicked man, the Lord still was anointed by the Lord.
To stretch forth mine hand against him, seeing he is the anointed of the Lord. So David stayed his servants with these words, and suffered them not to rise against Saul.
So he told, it's like you being a boss, tell y'all, man, don't stand down. Don't go over there and try to kill. Like your boys want to kill him. Say we Bloods and they Crips. Y'all want to go over there and kill him. They were like, nah, man, y'all stand down. So David telling his crew, don't mess with Saul. But they were trying to pump David up to kill Saul.
But Saul rose up out of the cave and went on his way. David also arose afterward and went out of the cave and cried after Saul, saying, my lord the king.
So Saul left the cave first, then David went, and David started calling him, hey, Saul.
And when Saul looked behind him, David stooped with his face to the earth and bowed himself.
So he still giving, this man was trying to kill you. This man only came over to kill you, and you bowing down, showing respect to the king.
And David said to Saul, wherefore hearest thou men's words, saying, behold, David seeketh thy hurt.
So he was like, hey, I heard you trying to kill me.
Verse 10, behold, this day thine eyes have seen how that the Lord hath delivered thee today into mine hand in the cave, and some bade me kill thee.
So he's saying, hey, you know how you was in the cave. I could, and my boys, he didn't say my boys, but some people was like, man, kill you. Like, you was in the cave, I was in that same cave, and they told me to kill you.
But mine eyes spared thee. And I said, I will not put forth mine hand against my Lord, for he is the Lord's anointed. Moreover, my father, see the skirt of thy robe in my hand.
I got the proof I could have killed you. While you was asleep, I cut this piece of cloth off. Here it is right here.
For in that I cut off the skirt of thy robe and killed thee not. Know thou and see that there is neither evil nor transgression in mine hand, and I have not sinned against thee. Yet thou huntest my soul to take it.
I ain't sinned against you. I could have killed you, but yeah, you still running around trying to kill me. Let me see how much I'm supposed to be reading to.
Read to
Verse 12.
The Lord judge between me and thee, and the Lord avenge me of thee, but mine hand shall not be upon thee.
The Lord gave me the right to kill you, but my hand, it ain't upon thee.
As saith the proverb of the ancients, wickedness proceeded from the wicked, but mine hand shall not be upon thee.
Hey, I'm doing the right thing. I ain't gonna kill the king, even though you out of bounds trying to kill me.
After whom is the king of Israel come out? After whom dost thou pursue? After a dead dog? After a flea?
Why is the king of Israel, the 12 tribes, running after little old David? I'm just a dead dog. I'm a flea compared to you.
The Lord therefore be judge, and judge between me and thee, and see, and plead my cause, and deliver me out of thine hand.
It's the Lord that's understanding that I ain't do nothing. That's why you can't kill me. He let me out of your hand.
And it came to pass when David had made an end of speaking these words unto Saul, that Saul said, is this thy voice, my son David? And Saul lifted up his voice and wept.
So he started crying. He realized, remember I said you heaping hot coals upon people's head? When you be kind to them, people that's being mean to you? So now he crying. He broke down crying after hearing all what David said.
And he said to David, thou art more righteous than I, for thou hast rewarded me good, whereas I have rewarded thee evil.
He like, man, you more righteous than me. All I'm doing is trying to kill you, and you reward me with good. You saving the nation. You ain't even trying to fight back against me.
And thou hast showed this day how that thou hast dealt well with me. For as much as when the Lord had delivered me into thine hand, thou killest me not.
Read 20 for me.
Verse 20. And now, behold, I know well that thou shalt surely be king, and that the kingdom of Israel shall be established in thine hand.
He say, man, you the man for the job. I know eventually you going to be the king of Israel. 3:21-2.
Swear not therefore unto me by the Lord, that thou wilt not cut off my seed after me, and that thou wilt not destroy my name out of my father's house.
So he like, man, just whatever you do, don't after you get the kingdom, because eventually you gonna get it. You too righteous. You doing everything a righteous man would do. Don't kill my bloodline. Don't take me up. But David ain't that type of person anyway. 22.
And David swore unto Saul, and Saul went home. But David and his men gat them up unto the hold.
So they went about their way. So we almost finished with this story. We at 26, 1-10. We're going to see if anything changed.
Chapter 26, 1 Samuel, verse 1. And the Ziphites came unto Saul to Gibeah, saying, Does not David hide himself in the hill of Hachilah, which is before Jeshimon?
So they telling Saul what David had again.
Then Saul arose and went down to the wilderness of Ziph, having 3,000 chosen men of Israel with him to seek David in the wilderness of Ziph.
Nah, I think he had 2,000. He had 200.
200 to 3, yeah. No, that's how many David killed at first.
I think he had 2,000 last time.
Yeah,
3,000.
Oh, he took
Last
3.
time?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
he
the
said
same.
3,000.
Okay, so he took 3,000 more together. Did all that. How many times he swear he was? He swear to his son he wasn't gonna kill him. He broke down crying after the cave, saying you gonna be the king, blah blah blah. But you steady, man. Jealousy is a mug, man.
What made him want to kill him again? I know we skipped all that, but
Probably still jealous.
He got his son. First
It's
of
an
all,
evil spirit.
he
on
got
him.
it.
The Lord put that evil spirit on him.
First of all, he tried to set him up on a suicide mission to go kill all the Philistines. They got a man. Hold up. This is really 18.
18.
Okay, read 1 Samuel 18:6.
And it came to pass as they came, when David was returned from the slaughter of the Philistines,
So this is when he killed Goliath.
that the women came out of all cities of Israel,
All the women.
singing and dancing to meet King Saul, with tabrets, with joy, and with instruments of music.
So after wars, we used to have, remember we read that cheerleaders. The women used to come out, they used to be singing and dancing, and they had tambourines and whatever other instruments of music. This is where cheerleaders come from. Like in the war, they used to go down to a plain field. On this side, it'd be whatever nation, on that side, be the other nation, the Israelite. And whoever win, when they make it home, the women used to cheer. So what did the women say with their music? Verse 7.
And the women answered one another as they played and said, Saul hath slain his thousands, and David his 10,000s.
So the women is singing, Saul the king has killed his thousands, but David had killed his 10,000. So what happened verse 8?
And Saul was very wroth.
He was pissed off behind that, man. I'm the king. Y'all putting this boy singing, because it's all, who's singing this? All the what?
The women.
the women.
All the women in Israel. Y'all know how dudes is. Especially if you're supposed to be the king. Imagine the rappers on stage. Imagine you doing a show. And the dude that's under you in the show, the dude that's opening up for you, he can rock the crowd with him. Like everybody going crazy. And you the head act, you the king.
The hype man. They like the hype man.
You the king, you get out on stage. You reading the press and the tabloid.
They asking for him to come back out.
The women, you singing this to the king. They say they ran out for Saul. And you dissing Saul in the middle. Saul killed thousands, but David killed 10,000. So he was mad behind that. And the saying did what? Verse 8, and the saying.
And the saying displeased him. And he said, they have ascribed unto David 10,000s, and to me they have ascribed but thousands. And what can he have more but the kingdom?
So what he gonna have the kingdom next? Like damn man, what more can he have? He got my daughter, my son, his best friend, all the women in Israel own him.
His wife.
Well,
His wife was helping him along the way too.
that was David's wife.
Okay. His daughter.
Which was his daughter. He like, what can he have but the kingdom? And verse 9.
And Saul eyed David from that day and forth.
From that moment on, that evil spirit of the Lord was on him. But that would kicked it off.
Over some women.
He was in
Popularity.
his feelings. That's how them rappers be. That's how them entertainers be. They get big-headed, high and mighty, and they be hating each other. They be hating the other rappers. They be blackballing people. They cut him off from the radio. I don't want his songs being played no more. I run things. But that was a good question because I thought that verse was, I was mad that I didn't put it in the, we was doing the last one of Samuel.
26.
Yeah,
Chapter
26.
26.
1 Samuel 26, 1 through 10. But remember, love thy enemies. David still got love for Saul. This man is clearly an enemy of him.
So wait, verse 3.
Verse 3.
And Saul pitched in the hill of Hachilah, which is before Jeshimon, by the way. But David abode in the wilderness, and he saw that Saul came after him into the wilderness. David therefore sent out spies and understood that Saul was coming very deep.
So David wise. He sent some people to go see what's going on. They told him that Saul on his way.
And David arose and came to the place where Saul had pitched. And David beheld the place where Saul lay, and Abner the son of Ner, the captain of the host. And Saul lay in the trench, and the people pitched round about him. Then answered David and said to Ahimelech the Hittite.
Well, hold on. We ain't got to read all that.
Verse 7.
The point is, I put this chapter in because the man made a promise. He cried, broke down, and he's still trying to kill him. Now, to make a long story short, Saul eventually died. And guess who was king?
David.
King David was king. Just how he said. He never tried to kill Saul at all, even though Saul is clearly wicked, clearly out of bounds. So even when you do it right, imagine we in one of these mega congregations and we got somebody that's doing right. The head preacher might be looking at that little dude funny because he know that, man, if something happened to me, the people might start crying for him. So even though jealousy may be abound, even though people might try to, because that may be you at work. Somebody might be mad that you don't want to do what they do. They putting stuff in your ear to cut corners or to do stuff bad and you don't want to do it. You want to do what's right. So now they slandering your name. Don't recompense evil for evil. Don't try to go around messing with that person or get that. Man, pray to the Lord. Pray that that brother or sister change and understand what he doing was wrong. That's how you be perfect. That verse said, be ye perfect. That's how you be perfect. Some of us have perfect. We love people that do good and we be ready to tear somebody's head off that's doing us wrong like that as an Israelite. But we got to learn to be perfect. So we had John chapter 11, 47 through 57.
New Testament. Chapter 11. 47. The book of John, chapter 11, verse 47. Then gathered the chief priests and the Pharisees a council, and said, what do we? For this man doeth many miracles.
So the chief priests and Pharisees all sitting around discussing Christ. Hey, what we gonna do about this man? Because this man is doing what?
Many miracles. If we let him thus alone, all men will believe on him.
If we let Jesus alone, we don't stop this crap, they gonna start believing on him. And we the Pharisees, we the leaders, we the chief priests. So they worrying about their position. Didn't I just talk about how the church leaders would be? That's how they was about Christ at this time. We got to do something about him. We'll lose our spot. Say all men will believe on him and what?
And the Romans shall come and take away both our place and nation.
The Romans gonna take our place away because we ain't supposed to be letting this dude run things. We supposed to be running things. And the whole nation of Israel is gonna be in trouble. Because they ain't gonna be listening to the Romans. They gonna be doing what thus say the Lord.
And one of them, named Caiaphas,
Which is Cephas,
being the high priest that same year, said unto them, Ye know nothing at all, nor consider that it is expedient for us that one man should die for the people, and that the whole nation perish not.
So he's like, man, y'all don't know the scriptures. It's in the scriptures that one man should die for the people and that the whole nation don't perish not.
Verse 51. And this spake he not of himself, but being high priest that year, he prophesied that Jesus should die for the nation.
So he like, hey man, it's already said Jesus shall die, one shall die for the nation. So let's kill him, pretty much what he's saying. So he wicked anyway, like even though he's prophesying that it's supposed to be done, I'm not gonna do it. So he like, man, let's kill him.
And not for that nation only, but that also he should gather together in one the children of God that were scattered abroad.
Ooh, that's deep. That's deep right there. So at this time it was the Benjamin, Levi, and Judah. So he's saying, hey, he said after he died, they're gonna gather together one the children of God that were scattered abroad, all the other the northern tribe that was scattered.
Then from that day forth they took counsel together for to put him to death. Jesus therefore walked no more openly among the Jews, but went thence unto a country near to the wilderness, and to a city called Ephraim, and there continued with his disciples.
So Jesus knew they tried to kill him, so he was smart. He didn't even go around that area. 55.
And the Jews' Passover was nigh at hand, and many went out of the country up to Jerusalem before the Passover to purify themselves. Then sought they for Jesus, and spake among themselves.
So everybody, they know it's Passover. They know all the Israelites are supposed to come back to Jerusalem to keep the Passover. So now they said they sought for Jesus. They looking for Jesus. All right, this is our time. Passover, he got to be around. He been hiding in Ephraim. So they sought after Jesus and spoke among themselves, what?
As they stood in the temple, what think ye, that he will not come to the feast?
They couldn't find it. Like, man, y'all think he ain't coming to the feast?
And think about that for a second. This is a holy day. They trying to kill him on the feast
On the
day.
Passover.
That's like, for instance, when you was in the world, everybody at mama house at Christmas, you like, I know he gonna be there at Christmas time, but we gonna kill him at the house.
People get shot up at funerals like that.
I know everybody gonna be there, so
they
we gonna
ain't
get
seen
him
old
there.
boy in years. He been hiding. His mama died. I know he gonna show up for his mama's funeral. Then he get shot at the funeral.
That's wicked, man. You boys
We
wicked.
got some wicked Israelites, man, and that's our people doing this. Passover. That's crazy. I'm glad you brought that up.
Now both the chief priests and the Pharisees had given a commandment that if any man knew where he were, he should show it, that they might take him.
So they plotting on killing Jesus. So, but remember, love our enemies. That's the whole point. What we at? Yeah, Luke 23, 31 through 24. 34.
Right above it.
The book of Luke chapter 23 verse 31. For if they do these things in a green tree, what shall be done in the dry? And there were also two other, malefactors led with him to be put to death.
So they finally got Jesus. They putting him to death. They about to put him to death, and him along with 2 other people.
And when they were come to the place which is called Calvary, there they crucified him.
Y'all know what crucified me?
Impaled on the cross.
Impaled on the cross. Crucifix. They put your hands, they nail your feet, and then they start torturing you, letting you bleed to death, piercing your sides. It's an agonizing death.
Torture.
It ain't just getting shot. You have to suffer.
This was their version of the death chair, the electric chair. Or now they do what, lethal injection?
Well, electric chair ain't really torture.
But I'm just saying, this was.
Yeah.
It wasn't. They didn't just do Jesus like this. This is how they did. That was their punishment. That was their death penalty right there.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's a slow execution.
So there they crucified him, and the malefactors, one on the right hand and the other on the left. Then said Jesus, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And they parted his raiment and cast lots.
So that's 34 was the key. Even in death, even these people is clearly wrong. He ain't did nothing to nobody but try to save them. The same way David ain't do nothing wrong but trying to save Israel. He's still in his mind, his last words, well not his last words, but he said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Be ye perfect, as I'm perfect. Think of that on your job. Think of that within your family members. How your family talking about you because you want to be Muslim and in their eyes, want to be Muslim and all of that. Father, forgive them. Because they crucifying you to a degree. They slandering you. Father, forgive them. They don't understand. That's what they don't understand that I'm coming. The only reason Jesus came here to bring us back, to get us back on the right track. Father, forgive them. They obviously don't know that they're killing the Son of God.
Are we asking for forgiveness for just us or everybody?
For our people.
Okay.
We got songs in the Bible where we want the Father to come back and destroy these nations and put us back in our rightful place. We're talking about our own brother because we just read your own enemy is one of their own household. Keep that in mind. That's why we read those verses first. These are his own people. Those high priests and those Pharisees, they were Israelites. So that's why he's saying, Father, forgive them. They brought him up to the Roman emperor, wherever the Roman dude was. He said, man, I find no fault with this man. He said, the blood gonna be on y'all hand. It wasn't the Romans that made the call. Then he said, y'all, whatever y'all want to do, y'all do with it. But the blood off my hand, I find no fault in this man. The crowd said, crucify him, crucify him. And the crowd was none but Israelites. So he like, Lord, forgive them. They obviously don't know what they're doing. They want to stay in sin. They don't want to change. So we're going to read Acts chapter 7, 51 through 60. This is after Christ died. This is what you would call a Christian. He was an Israelite, but he was a person following Christ.
Book of Acts chapter 7, verse 51. Ye stiff-necked and uncircumcised in heart and ears, ye do always resist the Holy Ghost, as your fathers did, so do ye.
So he like, man, y'all hard-headed, y'all uncircumcised in hearts and ears. He said, y'all resist the Holy Ghost as your fathers did. That's proof right there that he was talking to who? Israelites. Israelites. Saying, as the same thing your fathers did, so do ye.
Which of the prophets have not your fathers persecuted?
Name a prophet y'all daddy, our forefathers ain't killed. That's what he's saying. And that all the prophet was doing was trying to teach them to do right.
And they have slain them which showed before of the coming of the just one.
Who is the just one?
Christ.
Right. So he said the ones that was prophesying of the coming of Jesus, y'all killed them too.
Of whom ye have been now the betrayers and murderers,
So now y'all the betrayers and murderers.
who have received the law by the disposition of angels, and have not kept it.
Who the law was given to? The Israelites. So that's proof. Acts is all about the Israelites. So he said, y'all received the law by the disposition of angels, but y'all ain't kept the law.
When they heard these things, they were cut to the heart, and they gnashed on him with their teeth.
So they was in their feeling. It cut them to the heart. They said, this is a precept about the scripture. They said it cut to the cinder, to the cut bone. Because they know he was telling the truth. And that's how it is when you pull out these scriptures to somebody that don't want to keep these commandments. You telling them Christmas is clearly out of bounds. Man, they gnashing their teeth. You cut them to the heart.
But he, being full of the Holy Ghost, looked up steadfastly into heaven, and saw the glory of God, and Jesus standing on the right hand of God.
So God put him in the spirit, the Holy Spirit. He looked up in the sky. He could see the Most High and Jesus sitting on the right, standing on the right side of him. And he said, what?
And said, Behold, I see the heavens opened, and the Son of Man standing on the right hand of God. Then they cried out with a loud voice.
Man, we got tired of hearing all that.
And stopped their ears.
They stopped their ears. Y'all know what stop your ears mean, right? They running toward the next verse.
And ran upon him with one accord.
A whole mob of people, man. So hey, you may be bringing that word of God so righteously, man. Them devils, which will be your own people, will sought to kill you. Didn't we read that earlier? Christ warned them.
And cast him out of the city and stoned him.
So they took him somewhere and stoned him to death.
And the witness laid down their clothes at a young man's feet whose name was Saul.
So Saul was up there, who later became Paul.
And they stoned Stephen, calling upon God and saying, Lord Jesus, receive my spirit.
So he started calling the Most High, hey, Most High, take my spirit with you.
And he knelt down and cried with a loud voice, Lord, lay not this sin to their charge. And when he had...
Hold on. So his last words, he kneeled down and he being stoned to death, getting hit with rocks. He cried with a loud voice and saying, Lord, what?
Lay not this sin to their charge.
Lord, forgive them. They know not what they do. He's still praying for these people. That's how much he loved them. That's that perfect love. Lord, they don't understand what they're doing is what he's saying. Lay not this sin to their charge. The same way we ask the Lord to forgive our sin, even though we were so wicked and doing all this and all that. The same way our mother forgive us, even though we owe her so much money, or we had wrecked her car, or we did all this and all that. Your mother still love you. That's how he had love for his own people. At that time was his enemy.
And when he had said this, he fell asleep.
He passed out. He died.
Is that all different than the other song we read about?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
Paul.
this is a completely different time period.
Okay.
Paul in the Bible, original name was Saul.
Mm-hmm.
The Saul we read in Samuel was the first king of Israel. So we almost finished. This is that love thy enemies that the Bible is talking about. That's a perfect example of loving your enemies.
And that's people trying to kill them. The stuff we be mad and pissed off over, ain't nobody trying to kill us. It be some lightweight
$10.
stuff. Yeah. He stepped on my shoes, so I'm mad at him forever. He hollered at the same girl I tried to holler at, so
Women.
I'm mad at him.
Perfect example, man. It should be easier to get over that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Man.
It'd be hard for these brothers is righteous. Stephen, Christ, somebody that's about to kill you, like you on your deathbed.
David.
The first words out of most people mouth be, man, this like he trying to kill me, man. Like I hate you.
My man, the Lord is going to destroy all of you for killing the righteous brother.
You be thinking something crazy in your mouth. Not, Lord, don't lay this sin upon them. You would be thinking
He's
that.
like, I know they don't know better. These are some, they mind not right, Lord. Give them a pass. Give them one more shot.
Take work to get to that area. You got to practice and be humble.
Be perfect.
Yep.
That's perfect. So Isaiah 1:18.
Isaiah chapter 1, verse 18. Come now, and let us reason together, saith the Lord. Though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they be red like crimson, they shall be as wool.
So he said, come now, let us reason together. Let us come and talk together, said the Lord. So he said, your sins is red as scarlet. Meaning if you had a white shirt on, you just sinned so much that your whole shirt is, what's color is scarlet? Red. He said, they shall be white as snow. Though they be red like crimson, they shall be as wool. That's how much he forgiven you, he's trying to say. That's the same way you got to forgive your brother. Remember they had a verse say, how many times I forgive my brother? 70
times 7.
Yeah, something like that. So that's what he's comparing your sins to, a fresh teeth. It's all red now. So that's the way we should have compassion on our fellow man, our fellow enemies, the ones that's doing you wrong. So we got one more verse. Matthew 6:12. Says the Lord's Prayer.
We know this one.
Matthew 6:12.
Matthew chapter 6, verse 12. And forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors.
And forgive us our debts. We ask the Lord to forgive our debts. And as we forgive our debtors. Excuse me. We ask others to forgive our trespassing. And we ask the Most High to forgive our trespassing. Go both ways. As we forgive our debtors, meaning the people that's doing against us. So when y'all reading, when y'all saying the Lord's Prayer, y'all should get a clear understanding of it. Because everything we done read go into the debtors, trespass, forgive our trespass, we forgive, I forgot the other scripture.
Forgive our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us.
So that's what that's saying. And that's the stronghold we got to get out of our mind. Don't automatically think the other nations. When you read that verse about love, that you love your enemy, it's the people that's doing wrong against you. It's somebody that you've been beefing with, or somebody that's just giving you a hard time. Don't automatically wish evil on that person. Don't automatically think in your mind the Lord is going to destroy you, putting curses on that brother. Ask the Lord to change him. Still be kind to that person. You may win over a brother or sister with your kind. Anybody got anything else? You got anything else in mind?
That's it, man. Good lesson.
I want to thank the Lord for the lesson, and shalom, fam.